22 years ago, at the age of 10, my family members attempted to force me to fight for the Taliban. Luckily, my mother helped me escape, and I spent the next 7 years in Pakistan and Iran, then later from which I was arrested, jailed, and repatriated for staying illegally in Iranian territory. From there, I returned to human smugglers to complete a long, dangerous journey that eventually saw me arrive in Italy. Unlike many who have sought refuge abroad, I was fortunate to be able to survive the dangerous and often abusive conditions involved. I found my personal renaissance in Italy after being granted refugee status in 2007. I quickly learned Italian and immediately began working with refugees and asylum seekers. I founded UNIRE, the first national union of refugees in Italy, to make Europe as welcoming for them as it was when I arrived. To me, Italy and Europe are holy places, unlike in my country of origin and the many countries I traveled through to get here. I have found safety and peace in Europe. I am in contact with people right now who have been left behind in Afghanistan under the Taliban's regime of terror who wish to do the same. What will happen to them and to 10-year-old boys living in the Helmand region today, my region? My journey 22 years ago was not easy, but it would be nearly impossible now as countries have taken various steps to fortify the borders against those fleeing for their lives. There is not the Europe I have come to know and love. EU member states with international community were directly involved in the war in Afghanistan and have a moral duty to take all possible measures to protect the many Afghans whose lives are at risk. Furthermore, it is in Europe's strategic interest and also international community's interest to try to prevent further chaos in Afghanistan. It should fight to preserve the gains Western intervention and investment have created in the last 20 years. As recent events have shown, Europe and international community cannot rely on a US-led strategy anymore. The EU and international actions in the next few weeks are critical. As a first step, it should refuse to accept the Taliban as a legitimate government. As an influential trade bloc, the EU and international communities hold significant political and economic levers it can use to negotiate for the preservation of the freedoms and progress made since the Taliban last held power. Adherence to basic human rights, such as women's rights to education and work, needs to be fundamental priority. Second, the EU and international community should recognize that refugees will inevitably make their way to Europe and Western countries. Seeking to barricade its border not only fails the moral test, but it is also only likely to benefit human traffickers. Instead, a coordinated approach is key to avoiding a repeat of 2015 scenario that caught member states off guard. EU member states should therefore lead international responsibility sharing in response to the Afghan crisis and demonstrate their commitment to international values. This entails pledging resettlement places for Afghans, facilitating family reunifications for those with relatives already in Europe and Western countries, offering humanitarian visas, ensuring that all Afghans arriving irregularly are allowed to apply for asylum is their right. If the EU coordinates now to share and resettlement of refugees, it will keep any one country's resources from becoming overburdened. The EU and international community, in coordination with the UN, should also lead by putting pressure on Afghanistan's neighbors to open their borders and provide a safe passage for people fleeing the country. The EU and the UK must not only to save their own citizens and people who collaborated with them in Afghanistan, but also the minorities, activists, journalists, and former government officials whose lives are currently in grave danger. When I arrived in Italy, a local pizza owner welcomed and helped me. His kindness and humanity convinced me that I could find a new home in Italy. If a single citizen can so significantly change the life of another person, then the 27 EU member states and international communities can do much more for many more lives. Europe is currently in a unique position to lead the international response to the Afghan refugee crisis. I urge it to keep from being indifferent in this human crisis and to act urgently to save people's lives. Amid violence and terror, we can ensure protection and peace. I know because I have found them. Thank you.